Hello, welcome back. As exam 2 is over now. So I have graded your exam 2 and the class average on exam 2 was 69%, which is really not that bad because we had some interesting questions in there. So anyways, we are going to move forward with homework 3 and the final exam. So just to give you a heads up on homework 3, which is going to be due next week as we are trying to get the things done for the semester. So in homework 3, and I am going to post homework 3 shortly as soon as I get done with all the videos. And of course, you will get some time like usually I post homework at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and get it back to me by 10 o'clock at night. Okay. So for homework 3 and the final exam, which is also going to be next week, we are going to discuss open loop system. Open loop system. We are going to discuss the feedback control system, which is the closed loop system. Closed loop system. And of course, we call these control systems, so obviously because you're trying to control things, but that's an open loop system or a closed loop system. We are going to look at stability one more time. We looked at the Roth stability criteria. We are also going to look at the stability of an open loop system by looking at the Bode plots. Okay. So be aware of that. That's coming up. Bode plots, and that's going to look at the gain margin and the phase margin. Okay, those two guys we're going to look at, and by looking at the gain and the phase margin, we'll see how stable our system is, at least the open loop system. And we are going to look into what we call is the root locus. Root locus. Okay. And we are also going to look at, I just did the video before too and it got scratched out somehow or the other. So we are going to look at the most important thing I just forgot here. So before the stability even, so let's make this number 3. We are going to look at the PID controller. So some of you might know what PID means. P means proportional, I means integral, and D means the derivative. Okay, so this is number 4 guy. This is number 5 guy. And we are going to look into the lead and the lag compensator. Lead and lag compensators. So with that, we will wrap up the course, and hopefully we have covered not all the aspects of it, but most of it in a typical control systems course. So we are going to look at an open loop system now. Okay, what is an open loop system? What do they do, and how does it work? And what are some examples and drawbacks and things like that? So an open loop control system. Let me write it. Open loop control systems. So if we take a look at an open loop control system, mathematically you have seen several examples, you have worked out some algebra and all that good stuff, but you need to see some good examples that you see in your everyday life, right? That kind of makes sense to you. So here we have a transfer function that we've been looking at. This is an open loop transfer function. Here is the reference input RFS, and here you have what we call is the output, which is the CFS. So as you can see, in an open loop control system, there is no feedback. Well, what could be an example of an open loop control system? Well, the fact is that you got many examples around every day that you use. One of the example that you can see right here on your screen is a toaster, right? Toaster is a good example of an open loop system. Another example could be your shower. So that's an open loop control system. And this, you see, there's no feedback. So it depends. You want to eat some bread, and some people like to toast their bread, right? So you put the bread in there, and you have to adjust the timing as a light. If you want light, you want medium, or you want dark. So some manufacturers will design it for you. They have already done the experiment, but or you can do your own experiment too. Or they say, hey, you put it at this level, it's going to come out light. If you put it at this level, it'll be medium and dark. However, what they're doing mathematically, what you are doing is that you are plotting the time versus the bread color, right? So this is the basic application of the math that you've been learning. So in your courses, so here you can have different data at different points, right? You can have it in 1 minute, you can have 2 minutes, you can have 3 minutes. So this experimental data, you can determine what would be the timer level to get the desired bread that you want. Whether you want dark, medium, or light, or whatever you like. However, this system is not it's very simple. Let's write down some good stuff about it first. So it's a simple control system, right? You don't have any complications going on, so that's a simple control. And another good thing about this control system is that it's very conceptually, it's very easy, right? Very conceptually it is conceptually it's very easy. Conceptually, it's very easy system to understand, right? However, there are some drawbacks that can happen. The system is not robust. It can be very unreliable. Why do we say that? Well, if you change the bread, maybe the thickness of the bread, or some, if you try to put in a bagel in there instead of bread. Now, what experiment you did for that particular bread is not going to work for the bagel. So you got a problem here, right? In other words, your system is not going to be as robust as you want it to be, and so changes can make the system unreliable. So how do we handle the system that is unreliable now? So what you do is that, so one of the questions on homework 3 would be give examples of an open loop system. How do they work? One example I gave you. You can give me like a couple of more examples. You can think about several things around you that you can give them an example and write down the advantages and disadvantages. So one of the disadvantages here is very unreliable, depending on the on the quality of the bread in our case, or the type of the bread. And here you have to also do trial and error. You have to do trial and error to do this, right? So how do we resolve this problem? So in order to resolve this, what we are going to look in the next video is called the feedback control system. So as a matter of fact, if you buy books in the market, the title of the book would be feedback control systems, and what they're trying to tell you is that, hey, a lot of people talk about math only, but what they're trying to tell you in reality is that the open loop systems are good. Don't get me wrong, they are good. They have their own place, but but I'm sure you don't want to have the heating, ventilating, and air conditioning unit to be an open loop system, because you know there are a lot of disturbances. The weather changes, the climate changes, different temperature settings, and otherwise there'll be a lot of trial and error going on in there, and setting up back and forth. So what you do then is use a feedback control system which got a sensor. So we will discuss that shortly in the next video, and I will see you shortly. Thank you.